Interesting. Hello everyone, Fanta here, and you're watching Fantavision. Today, we are back to discussing GameStop in this episode of Tales from Retail. It's been like a month now, I think, since I've actually talked about GameStop, because I did quite a few videos with Eric, Oprah Winfrey, Grandma, Clint Eastwood, Clitwood, your grandma. I don't remember the other names. He came up with Dickhead, Shithead, and then you guys came up with a bunch of names. But because I've been doing videos with him, we've been covering things that he knew, like Walmart and Best Buy. And of course, Best Buy I didn't have any experience with, so he was the best person to tell the story. And I know some people really like him in the videos, and that's great, because he's definitely going to be in future videos about Walmart Black Friday. We got a video coming up on. And I might even have him in a GameStop video in the future. Now, I haven't completely decided on what we're going to do the episode on, but I'm thinking of kind of like a customer-only perspective because he never worked there, and then I can compare and contrast what it was like being both a customer before and then an employee, and then kind of all the little differences in there, and it'll be interesting to see the viewpoint of a person who was never, ever an employee at GameStop. So, we'll dive into that in the future, but for now, today, I want to cover a topic that I think a lot of people think about when they think of GameStop, and that's just GameStop throwing stuff away. And real quick, before we dive into that topic, I do want to do my usual intro and show off what I'm drinking here. And today it's a very interesting drink that's only around like the December like winter time, and that's Hakovesa? I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's okay. But it is an imperial stout inspired by Mexican hot chocolate. So today I'm drinking a stout. I'm not drinking the usual IPA. It didn't feel like a bitter IPA today. I wanted something kind of smooth with a really refreshing taste, and it is 8.1% alcohol, and I haven't had a beer in a week, so we'll see how that goes. So, why a lot of people think about what GameStop throws away is because a lot of people would ask us, can we have that poster? That was a common question we got all the time. Can we have that poster? Can we have that standee? Can we have that piece of marketing? Can we have that piece of marketing? And it makes a lot of sense to ask for that kind of stuff because several years ago, even about when I first started working at GameStop, we would take down people's names and phone numbers, and we would actually keep track of the pieces of marketing, and we would hold them for people because, I mean, GameStop wastes a lot of stuff. So if I know I can send that stuff to a good home, that's what we wanted to do. Now, we did actually stop doing that after a while. I don't know. I think it was partly corporate, partly the store itself, the store manager saying, we're done doing this. We're tired of holding on to marketing in the back when people aren't picking up the phone. It's just adding more time to an already time-consuming process. And I don't know if I'm going to get completely into marketing this episode. I might have to just talk about how much stuff we throw away. But it is insane the amount of waste that GameStop produces. Just one GameStop store, I feel like could fill a quarter of a dumpster every single time they swap out marketing. And, you know, another thing that really they wasted and doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it does a little bit, but at the same time, it also cost us a lot of sales. And that's throwing away the Wii and the DS cases. And a lot of people ask me about the cases and what happened to them and if I kept them. And I kept a ton. I have like a trash bag full of DS cases. I need to find them again. They're like in my horrible mess of a storage room at my old house. But I'm sure if I went through that mess, I'd find that garbage bag still. But I pulled out as many good quality cases as I could because, I mean, a lot of the cases were those crappy third-party shovelware titles. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. The DS and the Wii were chock full of just terrible games like Babies and the like Princess series and the My series and the like fake Sims games, and just there was just a bunch of just horrible games that nobody cares about on those systems. But I did keep the Pokemon cases, the Mario cases, Zelda cases. I kept as many of the good quality game cases as I could. And it's actually helped me over the years because I've found a lot of these games loose, because now if people buy these games from GameStop, they're only loose. You can't find a boxed DS game in any GameStop anywhere because they threw away all the boxes. And I'm baffled by throwing away a Pokemon box. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. I understand that you want to throw away the third-party titles and the games that are under like $3, but I mean, when somebody's spending $30 on their Pokemon DS game, most people want the case. And like I said, it costs us a lot of sales because people do want that case, especially if they're buying a Pokemon game. And the thing about those DS games is that they're so easily lost, you need that case to hold on to the game. And I know a lot of people have those like game cartridge cases within the cases, but like I said, I like having a shelf that I can look at. I want to be able to know what games I have for the system. I mean, I actually have most of my Switch games in my case, in the game case within the case. But I still like looking over there and go, oh, I have Rocket League. I forgot I had that because it was in my case. I don't always look inside my case to see what games I have. So it's just kind of nice to have a visual reference. Plus, that was back in the old days when they had manuals. So it was great to be able to look through the manual, look through the different artwork. And they also had the Nintendo points for a while. That was back when Nintendo had that reward system where you put in that code online and you could get discounts, you could get themes, you could get a bunch of different stuff. And once we got rid of those boxes, you bet your ass I cashed in all those points. If I'm not hitting my mic, I'm tangling my foot in the cord. There's just so much that doesn't make sense to me that GameStop did. I mean, like I said, I get the need for space, especially now, because my God, it's just a toy store. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been in a GameStop in the past year or so, but this started happening near the tail end of when my store got shut down. They started sectioning off parts for accessories for phones and iPods and a couple of knickknacks. There weren't that many at that time. But now you walk into a GameStop and there's a wall of pop figures. There's an area for t-shirts. There's even a section of the wall now, which I wouldn't have minded really. Yes, I would have. For Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Magic cards. Now, I love Magic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I still have my Dominaria box sitting there. Remember what I said about the hell that it was to work there because of all the crazy goals that you got? Think about getting a customer that only wants to buy one booster pack of Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic. I mean, that person just screwed up your numbers for everything because that transaction is not going to get you a pre-order most likely. It's not going to get you a gameplay guarantee. It's not going to get you a card. And it's not going to get you any money towards your used product. Hell, it's not even going to get you any money towards your new games area. Now, I don't know how they section it off for stuff like that, but I don't know if it counts as new games sold. I really don't. Let me know in the comments. But I feel like having cards in the store is going to just make it even worse. And I'm sure the toys do too. I'm sure they're also great add-ons to add, more items to a transaction. But most of the time, when I see people in there buying a toy, they're not buying anything else with it. They're just buying that toy. Now, that has nothing to do with my experience at GameStop. I'm just kind of commenting on that, and that's completely separate. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I don't know why I kind of went on that tangent, but here we go back to throwing stuff away at GameStop. So, here we go. Here's a segue. Speaking of accessories and stuff like that, we would throw away a controller even if it wasn't completely broken. Like if it was a little bit dirty and it was a wired controller, and instead of being refurbished, it just told us to destroy it, we would cut the cord of that controller and throw it away. Games that we would put in as refurb and wouldn't be sent back to the factory, do you know where it'd go? It'd be cut and thrown into the trash. So all of those videos about people dumpster diving for games and then trading them back in, or dumpster diving and finding systems, or dumpster diving and really finding anything of value is super surprising. Also, another thing is most of the strategy guides, when they got pennied out and were supposed to be thrown away, yeah, those they're not going to make it to the trash. I'm just telling you that right now. I know one of my coworkers had an entire bookshelf of strategy guides, and I had half of a bookshelf of strategy guides because we don't want to throw them away. I mean, I just feel bad because strategy guides are kind of a timeless thing when you think about it. And I know they're pointless and they don't need to exist anymore because of the internet. But when you're playing a video game and you're holding a physical guide book, especially with an older game, it just, I don't know, it's different. It's nice to be able to look at the pictures and what these professionals have written down about what you're supposed to do in these games. It's always well thought out, well written, easily, you can easily follow it. It's great. And they have a lot of great artwork on the front of these things. Sometimes they're hardbound, and even the hardbound ones would get pennied out because nobody bought the damn strategy guides, and we always got way too many. So those aren't making it into the trash. At least at my location we didn't. And I've never seen a system marked for, the dumpster. I don't think ever. I can't think of one. I can't think of any possible time we've ever had a system that was just told us to just throw it away. So, like I said, when I see these systems that people are finding in these dumpsters at GameStop, I'm not saying they're lying, okay? I'm not going to point out a bunch of different channels and say that they're lying, because there could be GameStops doing this. I'm just saying at my location or any of the other locations I've worked at, that wouldn't have happened. And I worked at like 4 or 5 different locations. Something else that really is just an insane amount of waste, and I'll get into it more when I talk about marketing, which I think can be a whole episode in itself, is just the amount of fake cover art that we throw away. I mean, it's insane how much there is, because on the back walls we had these 2 panels. I think it was like 16 cases. So you take out those 16 cases, you swap them out, and they usually make one big picture. And then you keep doing that like every single marketing period. So you're taking 16 of these cover art things and just throwing them in the trash as you're swapping them out. And sometimes there wasn't even that big of a difference. Like they'd send us the whole picture again, but instead of being RP down here, now it's the rating. Why don't you just send that one? Because that's the only one we need to swap out. Nothing else changed on the cover art except for the rating. Why don't you just send the rating? Instead, they sent us another 16 when they could have just sent 1. So there's that huge amount of waste right there. Then there was also all the fake cases out on the floor. Now back then, we had a lot more space to do advertising for pre-ordering games and for games that were coming out. So we would have entire a rack full of fake cases. And on the other side, there's more fake cases. And then on the walls, next to the new games, we had fake cases. I mean, these fake cases were everywhere. And that, we had stacks this big after marketing that was just trash. Almost every single time. We're talking about probably an entire ream of paper. And that was every marketing period. And that's not including all the posters that we're switching out, which once again, some of them had no changes at all. In fact, some had no changes, and it didn't make any sense. We couldn't figure it out. We put them side by side, looking at spot the difference. We were trying to challenge each other, and we're like, I don't know why we're doing this. Why are we changing these out? Sometimes it was they changed a word on it, and I mean I understand that you need the marketing to be accurate. I work in marketing, but God, that's so much paper and ink you just wasted. I can't imagine how much money GameStop was pouring into this marketing back then. And I know they do get paid to advertise some of these games, but I don't know. The amount of waste that was involved was just crazy. Same with games that, back to the whole throwing away thing. Sometimes we just have games that were marked for destruction, just out of nowhere. I don't remember what game it was. It might have been a Tony Hawk game, but it was we were just told to throw them away. Same with the Wii Fit board, with Wii balance boards. we stopped taking those in, and then I think right before that, when people traded them in or they got marked for refurbishment, we just throw them away. Same with the Tony Hawk skateboards. Same with lots of controller charger stands. Same with a bunch of just useless crap that's just all plastic stuff. I mean, you see a lot of waste, and that's not really GameStop's fault, but you just kind of see the game industry's waste. I mean, I wonder how many Guitar Hero guitars, how many of those plastic skateboards, Wii balance boards are in the landfill now. All those fake plastic sports bats. Most of the time, we'd take them in for pennies. They'd never sell, and they'd penny out, and we'd throw them away because nobody wants to take those. For some reason, balance boards and those like sports plastic equipment things you like attach to your Wiimote, and the controller condoms, I'll explain those in a second, were always really dirty and gross. It's like somebody had been playing the Wii outside or left the baseball bat portion and tennis portion outside. It's like, how is this getting dirty inside your house? But controller condoms, that was really funny. I know I didn't mention this in the GameStop overstock, but I definitely should have, because controller condoms were those rubber things that I think came with your Wiimote. And they were supposed to make you grip better so you wouldn't throw the controller at the TV. Now, I never had that problem. I mean, you put the wrist strap on and you're fine. I mean, even if I never wore the wrist strap, I would have never broken a TV. I maybe dropped the controller once or twice, but I never threw it anywhere. I don't know how people were doing that. Maybe their fingers were getting sweaty. Anyway, we actually took in these controller condoms for a while, and we gave them I think 50 cents to $1. And for somebody who doesn't use them, they're like, hell yeah, just take them. And we would actually sell these too, even the used ones. We sold used condoms at GameStop. I'm dead serious. Used controller condoms. And they were always had a little bit of a yellow or brown tinge to them, because when you first get them out of the box, they're this completely clear plastic. Or rubber, rather. And just as soon as other people touched them, now mine were always clean and fine, the few that I had. But, oh my God, other people's. Even my friends were clean. I don't know what these other people were doing. Like I said, maybe they're playing the Wii outside. I don't get it. But it was just gross. And I can't imagine the mentality of a person buying a used controller condom. I just can't. And the thing is that most people didn't. So we built up a steady supply of these controller condoms. And we didn't have any room anymore on the floor. So we just start hanging them on hooks in the back. So we just had hooks of used condoms all over the back room. It was really nasty because there's these dirty brown and yellow condoms just everywhere. And thank God those pennied out. I mean, oh man. I know we're supposed to be talking about GameStop waste, but that's something that wound up in the garbage can. And that's something I'm glad wound up in the garbage can. I mean, I know the use for them. I understand the purpose. But God, they got so gross so fast. Same with the Wii balance board condoms. Those were even worse. But those at least made sense. I mean, people are putting their bare feet on them. I mean, you could tell that they were dirty from people's feet, because there was always that one, there was 2 areas on the board that were just black, and that's where their feet were. Now, why anybody would continue to put their feet on there after it was black is beyond me. Man, some people have some dirty feet. I don't think my Wii balance board ever got that dirty either. Maybe I never used bare feet, I guess. I always wore socks. I don't know. People are just gross. I think that's the moral of this story. I think we could do a whole episode just about gross stuff in GameStops. I'll do that. Just a gross out episode. But there's a little taste of it. Those used controller condoms, we threw away so many of those things. And remember how I talked about those skateboards that I just mentioned earlier, the plastic ones? Those, if somebody was GameStop dumpster diving for, would have had a bad time at mine, especially because we wouldn't throw them away right away. We'd keep them around, and because they had I'm not a skateboarder, so I can't tell you what they're called, but the lips of the skateboard, the dips, the fins, I don't know what it's called. So let's just call them fins because it's the less weird thing to call them. So the fin of the skateboard was actually popped up enough that you could do like ollies and like you could try to do kick flips. I managed to do an ollie on it, and that was a lot of fun, but we'd like slide around on the carpet with it, and those were fun. I was glad when those pennied out because you could screw around with them. But yeah, just so much waste at GameStop. Throwing away countless cases, games that we're just not taking in anymore. I think maybe the Link's crossbow training, I think that might have been one of the games for a bit. And then we started taking it in again. I think those are now worth several dollars at GameStop, the Link's crossbow training. For a while, they were like 10 cents or something crazy. Then we pennied them out, and then we allowed them again, and they were like $1. And now I think they're up to like $5. I could be wrong, but it's just interesting to see price changes and games thrown away. I wonder how many of those did wind up in the trash. I guess people would have found those if they're dumpster diving, but it's Link's crossbow training. You're not really getting much. So yeah, I don't get how those dumpster divers are finding it. There's lots of waste from GameStop. Maybe you'll think of more waste in the future. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Comment down below if you can think of something that they're really wasting at GameStop, or if you can think of maybe your store and how you see waste. I actually don't think Walmart had too much waste, now that I think about it. I know I saw entire racks out in the garbage area when I worked at GameStop, but most of the time, whenever a movie doesn't sell, they just ship it back to the distributor. So they don't lose any money on it, they just sell it back. And that's how Walmart makes their money. So, thanks again, everyone, and thanks to everyone who's on Patreon as well. I don't have like a list of running credits because I don't know if you guys want your names public. I don't know what to do with that yet. We are 30% of the way to getting the podcast going. Eric and I are whatever. We're thinking of ideas and we're trying to come up with what the show is going to be called, what the topics are going to be, where we're going to host it, all that kind of stuff. And when it gets funded, we're going to try to get it started like right away. And of course, like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more content. And as always, everyone, have a fantastic day. See you guys. This is a really good beer, by the way. I'm kind of sad that it's only during the holidays. It's a stout brewed with cocoa, coffee, peppers, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Inspired by Mexican hot chocolate. It's really good.